Hello, Commander. Our intelligence have detected a delivery of copium traveling down the road in front of us along at the location of the light button. We need to take out that copium delivery or else things is going to get really, really crazy. The world depends on you now, Commander. Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 129 and 2nd of July. So quite a bit of things had happened, mainly or mostly on the eastern side of Ukraine. And so let's start off with the cross-border shelling, or what we here at the DPA community call the cross-border Shaolin temples or Shaolin monks. So anyway, the Russian are reported to have shelled Balchiv or Bakhmut and in the Sumy area as well as at Vovkivka. So these two locations is reported allegedly by the general staff of the armed forces of Ukraine in their morning report, which I didn't see. So never mind, I just report. So maybe I just not concentrating. But anyway, a more significant border shelling was actually at Belgorod. Multiple rockets or missiles has been fired from Ukraine into this major city within Russia. So, according to the governor, Gladkov, he said that the night strike on Bakhmut, 5 people were killed, and there is partial destruction of 11 apartment buildings, and at least 39 private ones. So, this strike is hitting mostly residential area. From as far as I can understand, there is multiple videos showing the destructions. So the number of the missiles is actually intercepted, and also they also mentioned the shooting down of 2 drones from the Ukrainians. So that's all. So this strike, according to the Russian pro-Russian analysts, they say that this is actually a retaliatory strike. Because of the capture of Lysychansk. So because they lost Lysychansk, so they actually did this massive strike against Belgorod as a maybe like venting their frustrations. So moving on to the current happy front at Odessa, which is a front that nothing much happens most of the time. So if you have there is this video that came out showing allegedly a Russian fighter or aircraft or jet dropping some bombs on the Snake Island, and then this video was not really seen on the Russian Telegram channels, and then the reason is because this video is not released by the Russian Ministry of Defense. This is not released on the Russian side. This video is actually a Ukrainian video. So according to the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, Zaporizhzhia, they said that the Russian Air Force have launched airstrike with phosphorus bomb on Snake Island. So you can actually speculate on your own why this is the case, since there shouldn't be anything left on the island. So anyway, so I don't know. So some of the pro-Ukrainian crowd say that the airstrike was actually to destroy whatever equipment that is unable to be evacuated from the Snake Island. And given how poor the bombing is, I think that attempt probably failed quite badly. So anyway, so that's the source, which explains why I didn't actually saw that video at the first place, because it wasn't really a thing within the pro-Russian community. So it's only really viral mostly on Twitter. So on Twitter, of course, the pro-Ukrainian crowds are really excited about seeing 3 of the 4 bombs dropping into the sea. So yeah, and then they say how lousy the Russian Air Force is. So there's no way to even verify whose aircraft is that and when the footage is taken. So I don't really want to that's why it's black. You see, I don't really want to speculate what it actually is. I don't think it is necessarily true that could be a Russian aircraft bombing the island. I don't think it's something that can be verified, nor is it strategically important. Moving on to the Mykolaiv front. At the Mykolaiv front, I have no updates on the Mykolaiv front, nor at Lysychansk. There is a MiG-29 shot down over Yevgeny or Yevgeno. So MiG-29 air-to-air fighter. So, but it's shot down by air defense. So, which means that the Russian air defenses are still operating definitely around this region. There is no update at the Davydiv Bridge nor at the Kharkiv area. It's relatively quiet. I mean, strategically speaking, definitely there are still artillery shellings on both sides, but largely nothing much is happening. And I want to also share that I changed the icon for the air bases to this this either you can call it a bench, or in Chinese this is the word open kai. But it looks like the runway, right? So yeah, because if I use the aircraft one, sometimes it get very confusing. So that's why this is based on a comment by one of the viewers asking me if I can change the icon. So this icon is now changed, and it's actually a good recommendation, because I find it confusing as well sometimes. Moving on to Zaporizhzhia Line, nothing. So in fact, I also don't know who's controlling Bilohorivka, don't know who's controlling Novosibirsk. So that's all. That's all for Zaporizhzhia Line. At the Donetsk area, the entire offensive here is gone. There's no more offensive going on here. I still do not know what's the status of this town. Moving on to the north of Donetsk, Avdiivka, New York area, same. There's nothing happening. In the Bakhmut area, the front line has been changed. I have pushed back all the way because Vagina has been, I believe, recaptured by the Ukrainian forces. I do not know when this had happened, because suddenly, according to pro-Russian sources, they say that the Ukrainians are actually strengthening the defenses at Vagina. So, which actually indicates that the Ukrainians have recaptured Vagina some time ago. It doesn't seem like it's something new. So, and the pro-Ukrainian crowd did not mention anything about Vagina. So, yeah. So I have no idea what Vagina, when it actually converted. So for now, Vagina is Ukrainian. There's also this fighting here is also no longer happened. I will delete this in front of you. I didn't want to delete this earlier because I thought it might be confusing. So I'm gonna push this back all the way to the Dolomite area, and that's it. There is no active offensive around this area for now. And the front line I have pushed all the front line all the way to the eastern side of the road, because it seems like the Russians are unable to hold the lines here. It's a bit too far. Don't be misled by this map. It's actually 7-8 kilometers away from the next town. So for example, let's say from Rota or Roti to Zaporizhzhia or the Vagina area is 8 kilometers radius. So it's 8 kilometers away. It's actually quite a large distance. And from the from north to south is also around 8 to 10 kilometers. So it is not, it's a huge area to maintain control over, and maybe the small force of the Wagner private military contractors, they are unable to hold this amount of area. They will need reinforcement coming from the eastern front, from the eastern side of this side, to probably reinforce them in order to go on to the western side of this major highway here. So that's why they ceded control here. The entire attempt at Zaporizhzhia as well as the Kodema has all been abandoned for now. So very successfully, the Ukrainians continue to hold the Bilohorivka power station. However, there is news coming out from this by AZ military, one of the supporters of Defense Politics Asia, as well as I'm also a subscriber to their Telegram and Twitter. They say that Kalinov has been captured by the Allied troops. So this is the second time I've announced this, because previously I've announced this and then it got invalidated. So now we have this again. So hopefully we don't get this information invalidated again. But that's the nature of intelligence. We get information, we plot it into the map, and then we will update it as the situation goes on, or with new information that will prove to be more accurate, perhaps. Porovsky is still not captured. There is airstrike reported on Porovsky by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Nothing on Soledar and Bakhmut. All these few, Bilohorivka, Yakovlivka, as well as stuff. The conflict here seems to be really stagnant. Maybe the Russians are just holding this road, holding this line, and they do not want to, they want to focus their operations all around at the Pikachu front. So there is rumors coming from Unerkannt and it looks like a German word, but I don't know how to really pronounce this. This Twitter account actually mentioned quite a number of rumors. So they rumored about the capture of Ivano-Darivka as well as Vimka. So I didn't see this piece of information being replicated on the pro-Russian sources, which actually makes this information a bit dubious, because the capture of Ivano-Darivka as well as Vimka would be very significant, because you move here, then you will have this you push the front line a lot further front by 7 kilometers, and you actually come into artillery range of Sivers. Actually, it's already within artillery range, but as in striking distance of Sivers. So this will be significant, but I don't have any corroboratory information to confirm this. And of course, with this capture, you can actually go south, take Vasiliev, and actually encircle the troops that is holding up very well at Perestov as well as Bilohorivka. The Ukrainian forces here has done a very, very good job of holding back the Russian forces. So and a flanking movement, going to the rear is the way to break a well-entrenched position. So unlikely to be true. The same source also rumored, also said that Verkhan-Okamyamsky has been captured by the Russian forces. They said that previously they mentioned only half, then the next day they said the Russian forces captured it. But this information is entirely disputed or actually contradicted by Ryber, where they actually reported reinforcements from the Ukrainian side arriving at Verkhan-Okamyamsky. They said that additional units of equipment, including artillery and MLRS, is actually transferred to Verkhan-Okamyamsky or Verkhan-Ikmenskoye. So because they wanted to continue to provide support for retreating Ukrainian forces, so they need to hold this position to keep this opening for the Ukrainian forces to retreat.
However, this is not looking good because the Russians are already fighting at Bilohorivka. This is actually reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry that there is a offensive action being conducted near Bilohorivka, although they, of course, as usual, they will say did not succeed. And when they succeed, they also don't report about it. So that's just how it is. So this Enerkant W, he also reported that Russian forces, unconfirmed information, unconfirmed reports that Russian forces have crossed the Savinsky Donetsk River and captured Kryhorivka, and then they have then proceeded to Serebryanka. However, this information is also contradicted by Ryba, the pro-Russian source, where they actually mentioned that the Ukrainian positions at Kryhorivka is actually under artillery fire, or maybe other kind of fire, I don't know. So the forces that was holding this area, which is the 103rd Territorial Defense, have decided to retreat south to their secondary defense line. So they are unable to hold this line here because maybe it's just way too open, too near to the river, too near to the Russian positions, and they actually push south. The exact line they are defending is unclear, but I will assume that it's likely to be around all this forest line here. So that's the situation here. So a lot of contradictory information. That's why everything is question mark, because these are all unconfirmed report, just as per the tweet mentioned. So that's why I cannot confirm this, which is why it's all question mark, since no one else is talking about it. There is also, okay, so let's move. Where should I go? Zolotarivka is actually confirmed to be captured by the Russian forces. This is actually reported by the RIA Novosti. So RIA Novosti correspondent actually reports directly at Zolotarivka. So this actually confirms the capture of Zolotarivka. And this fighting at the western side of Lysychansk refinery is gone. So deleted. So now we are at the Luhansk front. So at the Luhansk front, the forces that was at Privilia, they actually branched out on two sides. One side went on to capture Shepelivka, and then they were fighting at the chalk quarry, the Berezovsky chalk quarry. There is no other updates about this fighting here, so not sure if they have win or they have lost. The other force actually pushed towards Novodruzhsk, and they actually captured it. And it seems to be undefended, as they quickly rush all the way into the northern side of Lysychansk. And then within Lysychansk, the forces that have crossed over the Savinsky Donetsk River, allegedly, has continued to spread from the north, capture the central area, where there is a video of them being at the Memory of the Fallen memorial. So at this area, which then I gave it a 1 kilometer radius because civilians was at the scene of the filming. So, and then we later have video of the Chechen forces capturing the city council of Lysychansk. And given how relaxed they are and the lack of fighting sound around, there is also another 1 kilometer safe zone. And then on top of that, we have who is this? The Zvezda News. The Zvezda News. Their car, they actually drove down this road in this direction, this way. And actually, there's also the earlier footage. I'm not sure exactly where, but at the end of the footage, they were around here. They were welcomed by the civilians, saying hello to them. And based on this line, we are able to establish another 1 kilometer safe zones, which then allows this entire bubble to grow to this size, which means these are secured, confirmed to be clear of Ukrainian forces bubble. So that's why the blue border is now all the way back here. The Chechen leader, I think it's Kadyrov, had declared that Lysychansk has been captured. It is now liberated for the Luhansk People's Republic. However, in my opinion, as well, I think in all the all the very credible mappers, including like Riber. Riber's map also is very similar to the map of DPA, where this area is actually put as a, for them they put it as a unknown, you know, like a gray zone kind of thing, whereas this part they put it as a confirmed. So on my side is the way how I map is I do not map gray zones, so it's either Ukrainian or it's a Russian, otherwise it's overlapped. Because I haven't seen evidence of Russians fighting in the south or moving into the south, so it's all Ukrainian now at this moment. But there are likely to be some Ukrainian forces still, you know, hanging around or trying to escape. But this area is actually encircled now. The fighting, the position of the last known Russian position based on Lithuania is actually along this line here, as well as here in the forested area. So this also shows that this information comes from yesterday. So this also shows that the Russians do not have a free range, you know, into this suburb area or this residential area. They are still very careful, which means that they are still fighting around this region. Similarly, the fighting at the Lysychansk as well as glass factory, there is no indication that the Russians have captured and or overrun this position yet. Similarly for the rubber factory, the only one that we know that was overrun and captured was the gelatin plant. This is announced by the Russian Defense Ministry. So the situation over here is an encirclement within Lysychansk. However, the Ukrainian forces is likely to still be able to escape through this route because in this area, this is a very long distance. This is a 4 or 5 kilometer gap where the Russians may not necessarily secure this entire area. So which is why I have this overlapping blue polygon where the Ukrainian forces may still escape the encirclement all the way up to Bilohorivka. So the Ukrainian forces at Bilohorivka must hold in order to allow their comrades to actually escape this encirclement. There is rumors that Maloryan has been captured. However, because again, due to conflicting information on the Riber, on the pro-Russian side, I have to put this as a question mark. So if not, previously I actually put it as a flag already, but this is also a significant town because capturing of this town would close the gap even further. And there is totally no one mentioned about Lysychansk. So very weird situation where this entire small town is ignored. So the situation on the ground is still not so clear. It's not so straightforward to say the whole of Lysychansk has been captured by the Russian side. And I also moved the front line all the way to the river. Previously, I did not include all this forested area here. I decided to move forward because of the situation on the ground. How the Ukrainian forces seems to be routed within Lysychansk. As such, it is unlikely that there are going to be any more Ukrainian forces within this area. Definitely not in Lysna Dacha, where they can be easily encircled. So that's why, based on this assessment, I have awarded Lysna Dacha as under Russian control. So the border along the river now definitely is more in line with most of the maps out there now. So that's all for the Luhansk front. And of significance is that the entire Luhansk area, because Lysychansk technically is essentially captured because of this encirclement, this force here is definitely this area, this pocket here is definitely going to be captured. Bilohorivka is the last settlement left within the Luhansk Oblast that is not yet captured by the Russian forces. So if you look at the border, this line, you can see that everything is red now, only leaving this small portion here. And of course, this area that is now needed to be cleared. This forested area here is the river. This is just the river. So you can put it as definitely under Russian control. So the liberation of Luhansk People's Republic is at hand, definitely. It's just one day, I think at max 2 days away. We will probably, in my next update, probably see the capture of Bilohorivka. This is my guess. So moving on to the Izyum Front. At the Izyum Front, there is not much things happening. Other than, of course, the usual, the artillery strikes, the air strikes. Fighting is is at Bohorodeshny, Krasnopilia, Mazanivka. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry is very proud that the Russians are unable to break through at Mazanivka, and the usual. So nothing much. This entire fight at Zaliman has been kind of like gone. Nothing is happening. I'm going to delete this. I just leave it as such, and then we'll see how it goes. In fact, I haven't seen fighting at Velika Komishubakha for a long time, so I'm going to delete that. I will still remain. We're going to still leave this as under Ukrainian control until I have information to suggest that the Russians have captured it. Let's see. Dubrovnik, I think there's fighting. Kuruka, Vinopilia, I haven't heard anything about it for a long time. So, let me delete this. Since it has been some time, I think the fighting is mainly concentrated around this area. In fact, I haven't heard much about Bohorodeshny as well. So, but anyway, as such first, I think there's no action around this side. So that's all for the Izyum Front. Nothing really happened at this Balaklia offensive. No, I named this. I expected this offensive, but it was like not happening anymore. At the Kharkiv Front, the ancient happy front, that is no longer happy. Heavy fighting is reported at Pitomnik as well as Prudianka. The situation at Udi is unknown, and the situation at Verkini South is also unknown. So basically nothing happened other than artillery bombardments. There is this very weird sudden excitement from the pro-Russian side. Like they are suddenly very excited that they are the Russian forces is very near to the Kharkiv. They are fighting at the outskirts. But then they named Dementivka and Prudianka. They name drop these two places, which is actually still 20 kilometers away. It's still really far. I'm not sure how they count. They managed to count it like they say it's like 8 kilometers away. So there's nowhere near to 8 kilometers away, even at the outskirts of this ring road. So no idea what they're talking about. Yeah, maybe they're just bored. They want something to happen in Kharkiv. So anyway, this is everything, I guess. So this is the summary for the day of 129 for the 2nd of July. Yeah, remember to press the like button. Do press subscribe if you are not subscribed. The subscription is very important because I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers. That's my aim, and because the subscriber base does helps to increase the viewership, and with sufficient viewership, with thus there will be sufficient revenue, then I can expand the team at Defense Politics Asia. Then I can cover more stuff. So if you want me to cover more stuff, you do have to subscribe so that you can help me to grow my viewer base, and hopefully I can create more content that you may enjoy. And I'll see you in the next update.